You're welcome to today's episode of Chronicles of a Nigerian Woman. My name is Fagbeja, and today I'll be reading Nwanneka's story. Austin and I were secondary school classmates. At some point, we became more than just friends. I was 15, my head was in the clouds, and I believed I had found my partner for life. I came from a wealthier and more conservative background than he did. I think I was partly attracted to his street wiseness. Anyway, I did most of the giving in our 3-year relationship. I gave him gifts, money, I even took stuff from home that I thought no one would notice. And I always brought extra food and snacks to school to share with him. He hardly gave me anything, but I understood because they didn't have as much as we did. Of course, I had to hide the relationship from my family because they would definitely not approve, mainly because of my age, but also because of his personality. But I was smitten. It was my 16th birthday when Austin started pressuring me to have sex with him. I refused. My mom had drummed into our heads the virtues of holding on to our virginity until marriage, not just for her 3 girls, but also for my 2 brothers. Plus, I was very afraid of getting pregnant. I simply could not imagine what my fate would be if it happened. But Austin did not let up. He told me all sorts of things to wear down my defenses, and I managed to hold him off for a while. But when he started to insinuate that I didn't really love him and dropping hints of calling off the relationship, I couldn't bear it much longer. On my 17th birthday, I decided to give myself to him as a gift. He had an older friend, so we went to his 1-room apartment that day, a Saturday, when I told my mom that I was meeting some of my friends to go out for my birthday. It was there that Austin disvirgined me. From then on, I had no moral grounds on which to refuse him, so we did it regularly. We graduated from secondary school that year. It was about 3 months after school that I missed my period. I waited a whole week to be sure. I was frantic the day I told Austin. He told me to calm down and said it could be that the period was just late. But my periods were never late. They came like clockwork on the 26th day. My mom had taught me to count. When it still hadn't come almost a week later, I was sick with worry. That was when Austin took me to a local chemist who gave me some pills. A few hours after I took them, I started bleeding heavily. It was so bad that I could not go out for 3 days. I had to hide it from everyone in the house. Luckily, I was home alone during the day. I could not eat and I was retching, but somehow I managed to keep it to myself since I had my own room. I struggled to downplay it when my mom wanted to take me to the hospital on the 3rd morning, and she gave me anti-malarials instead. By the 4th day, I started to feel better and the bleeding subsided until it stopped over the next 3 days. Of course, Austin couldn't come to my house, but he asked his female cousin to check on me once. But when I felt better and went to see him, I noticed he was somewhat distant and cold. It was about 2 weeks later that he told me he was no longer interested in the relationship. The shock and pain I felt were far worse than what I had experienced from the abortion. I almost went mad. I begged him, but he wouldn't listen. And one day, I remember going to his house and kneeling down to beg him, but he threw my hand off. That was when I got up and I cursed him. I told him that he would never find anyone who loved him like I did, and even if he did, all their babies would be aborted because of what he did to me. He made a mocking face at me and walked away, and I left his house in anger. That was 15 years ago. I have been married for 8 years now. I heard from our secondary school mates when Austin got married about 4 years ago. A few weeks back, I got a message from a strange number. It was Austin asking to speak with me. I had long forgiven him and moved past my hurt, especially as I had recognized my own folly. And so I obliged him, and he called me a couple of days ago. I thought he wanted to catch up for old time's sake, and so I chattily asked him about his family. But he sounded somber when he started asking me to forgive him. I reassured him that I had, and that I held nothing against him. But he started sobbing and told me that in their 4 years of marriage, his wife had had 7 miscarriages at various points, and that he knew it was because of the curses I placed on him. I told him that I had only said those things in anger, but he kept begging me and asking me to reverse the curses. To convince him, I prayed for him, but I have been perplexed ever since his call. He was only 18 when the incident happened, and of course, I didn't mean what I said. I just wanted to hurt him as badly as he had hurt me at the time. I have 3 children of my own, and my marriage is great, and so I even have no reason to continue to hold it over him. What do you think of the situation between Austin and Nwanneka? Do you think it was her curse? Or do you think it was just coincidence? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Remember to hit the subscribe button and to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos.